This one is from Jonathan Thomason. It's been 3.5 years since the PlayStation 5 came out, and there are still new games being released on the PS4 regularly. How much of a win is this for the average consumer? How much of a problem is it for Sony? I'm going to quickly sort of set some context for this, because I think we are now approaching the end of the cross-generation era. And a lot of games now are launching without PlayStation 4 versions and without Xbox One versions, which is great. So I'm not really sure it's that much of a problem for Sony anymore. And I do think there is sort of like a direction of travel that sees people moving on from, say, their Xbox One to Series, or from PS4 to PS5. The thing that sort of highlights an issue potentially for me is that a lot of the games that are currently being played now, there was a recent study where it sort of turned out that a lot of people are still playing really old games. You know, games like Fortnite, for example. If you're playing Fortnite on an Xbox One, for example, do you really need to upgrade? You know, if you're going to get a prettier version of Fortnite, or a version that plays at 120 frames per second. But fundamentally, Fortnite is still being, updated for Xbox One. So do you need a new console? I think that's kind of possibly an issue. Tom, thoughts?
Well, on looking at that question, I thought, what are the sales what is the install base of PS4? Because that's ultimately what people are looking at. Developers
it's
are
about 130 million.
Yeah,
how many
VG charts says 117, 130 is probably.
I think that was a recently updated figure from Jim Ryan. But the point is, I guess the question is, that's the installed base, but how many people are still using PlayStation 4?
This is true,
I suspect it probably is a lot. I suspect it is a lot of people that are just playing Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah. So it's really been up to Sony to make the argument to potential buyers to jump ship and pay up for a PS5. And I think in a weird way, they have achieved it this year. Like, there's been some really great exclusives within the first half of this year. We've had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we've had Helldivers 2, we've had Stellar Blade, we've had, I think Rise of Ronin is a perfectly great game. I think it's a solid exclusive. And these are, good arguments to jump in. Arguably, one or two of those could have made it on PS4. But I think it makes a very good case for developers to just focus on one platform and commit their resources to that one platform and get the most out of that. And I think they've achieved it with FF7 Rebirth for sure. Absolutely loving that game. So I'm also reading PS5 is up to 62 million units. Oh no, it's behind the lifetime PS4 sales. So yeah, so there's a bit of a ground to make up still, but they're going to get there if they keep pushing games like this and more exclusives like this. But
I guess that's the main issue this year, is that they're kind of running out of exclusives. We'll have to see what else they have to come up with. Alex, do you think the concept of the generation of a console generation is dead, which I think is kind of like the underlying issue that Jonathan's pointing out here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it is a little bit, and I think I don't know. I think it kind of plays into, I mean, I don't know which future Sony prefers at this point. I think that whatever one would allow them to extract as much revenue and profit, obviously, but like, because if they can still sell things to someone on PS4 and still can make money from them, they don't make the hardware sale money anymore. But the question is, like, is that such an important?
Well, there is no hardware sale money.
Yeah, so I don't know. But also, it's a really hard thing to convert a user that has such a limited experience on their current hardware anyway. I have a lot of friends or, people that I've known in my life that just play League of Legends, right? And they don't necessarily need to always be upgrading their PC. They don't really care about a lot of other great adjacent features of the PC ecosystem. They just play League of Legends or WoW or whatever, and like the same kind of thing on console of the Warzone Rocket League, all these like games that Rich just was just talking about, like Fortnite, as long as they're getting updates and the thing still works, they don't really care. So I don't know if those people should even be the market that Sony should be addressing at that point in time. They should be probably looking to expand beyond those people.
I think next gen is going to be very interesting. This gen, I think, it is kind of been more of a standard console generation. Sales are lagging behind last gen a bit, but there were major supply problems at the beginning.
Sure.
And right now they've got cost issues where they can't cost reduce the console much in the way that they did on prior generations. But I think next generation is going to be very, very interesting because we've kind of got an idea of where Microsoft's going to land on this. They're going to have handhelds. They're going to have a super top-end generation machine, which they're saying will have the biggest technological leap of any console generation, which, quote unquote, are on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that if you've got these two radically different points for that generation, a handheld and the biggest generational leap of all time, where does that leave the current machines? And the answer is probably in the middle somewhere for the Series X. So it may well be the case that this whole concept of a console generation kind of blends into a grey area still further, because that hardware is still going to be perfectly performant. It's just going to be doing things more in line with what the handheld is doing, possibly at a higher resolution and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So this generation, I don't think it is too much of a problem. I think there are other problems that they're going to be looking at, like increasing the total addressable market. That seems to be the big one. Next generation, though, I really don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to be fascinating.